Hey guys, so let's get started on day 3. I had a goal today of teaching him that clucking and pointing means go. So I was really hesitant to start doing this with him already on day 3 because he just was still so new and I was really afraid of him becoming scared of me from me chasing him. But it was kind of becoming a must because, as you can see, he doesn't respond to my body language. He doesn't respond to me pointing. He doesn't respond to me clucking at him. He really was just an unresponsive horse all around. I mean, not much phases him. It's very strange. And I honestly just kind of felt bad because I had to get out my handy stick there to start smacking him with that because I tried on day 1 and day 2, and then the beginning of this video I tried just using my lunge whip and popping it, making it crack really loud either right behind him or cracking him on the butt with it, but just nothing was getting through to him. And then I had to move that stuff out of there so I could move because it was just a really sloppy mess out there. So I really needed things to get out of my way. So he would catch on, and then he would catch back off again. So here he's starting to get better and starting to respond a little bit. And there I kind of made my body language look like I was going to smack him. And here I wanted to include this because I didn't chase him back around, because just right now I really needed to get his feet moving. I didn't care if he wasn't facing me or anything like that. I just really needed to get his feet moving. And he kept getting hung up on the gate because that's the gate to get back into the stall. So I had to really get my body language going, and I made like a psh noise with my mouth. I don't know if you'll end up being able to hear it really well through this voiceover, but towards the end of the session, he was doing really well, and I loved that he turned in. I mean, I got really lucky with him in that he really loves facing me. He doesn't like turning his butt to me, really. And here I was very worried that he was going to be afraid of me, even just approaching him. So that's why I got my handy stick hidden behind my back. My hands are behind me. I'm trying to make myself just look as calm as possible. And so since he did face me, I really tried to let this sink in for a while. I really wanted him to realize that facing me meant that he gets scratches and he gets to stand, so that I could move on to the next stage, which was getting him to go again. He's already getting better. I didn't have to hit him with the actual stick this time. Not near as much anyways. I'm pretty sure I do have to end up smacking him with it. And there I was just struggling in this mud, but there he kind of halfway turned his butt into me. Like there. I don't think he's meaning to be rude because I'm getting pretty good at picking up on his body language. I think he just thought he was going to be able to stop there, and that was a moment. I think he was anticipating me making him go past that gate, so he thought if I stop early, it'll be different. But and here I loved this. I loved this. After the first time, it's like he really picked up that facing me and coming to me was a very good thing. He'd get to stay. I love touching him right there with all this mud. Defeats the purpose. Defeats the purpose of a brush. And then I had not desensitized him to the stick and string yet, so I really wanted to make sure, especially after having to chase him with it, that he wasn't afraid of it. So I also wanted to move on to other goals today. I really wanted to start touching him in places that I maybe haven't touched him yet. So here I'm going to start sliding the stick down his back leg a little bit. I just thought he did really well with that. He isn't too reactive with his back legs, but I like to have my distance first. And then there I'm touching his belly, and I slid it back closer to his pee-pee because some horses, don't like their stuff getting touched. So I was going to see if he would kick out at his belly or anything like that. And then I just did my regular old throwing the string over the back thing and around his back legs and stuff. And he did really good, which he's very lazy. So he very much pretended that he was very, very tired after we lunged for maybe 5 minutes. Then I really wanted to start with his feet today. So I didn't want him to just immediately want to pick up his feet just because I was touching it. So I just started by sliding my hand down first and taking my time around the bottom of his leg just to see how reactive he is first, because I didn't want him to pick up his leg unless I started tickling, which if you see in a minute I will tickle the back of his foot so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here I'm barely tickling it. And I love that I can just do this and get him to look at me again. So I start increasing the tickling here. And I first thought, well, I'm just going to stop there for the day. But then I kind of told myself, no, we need to keep going. He's doing well. He just has to learn, obviously. So while I was petting on his other leg, I was trying to think of ideas on how to get him to pick his leg up. So I just really didn't want to give up. I wanted to give up, but I told myself that I needed to keep going because he was doing so well with everything I threw his way that I didn't think this was a far goal for the day. Here now I'm taking a break from touching his feet. So I had touched him with the handy stick on his belly and butt area, but I really wanted to start doing it with my hand too because I knew that would be a different sensation than the handy stick, obviously. So I feel so bad for him. You can just see the balls of matted mud and poop on his belly and his legs. It's so sad. So here I thought it was a good goal for me to touch his tail for the first time because I know a lot of horses can get really guarded about that. As you can tell, he didn't care. One really good thing about missing one of your legs is that I could approach him with my right side facing him so that if he kicked, he would just break my fake leg instead of my real leg. Oh. I thought he was doing really well, so I rewarded him by facing him and letting him sniff on me. I never really felt worried to walk behind him, but obviously you should always be safe and don't let your guard down just because everything's going smoothly because you just never know. Something could fall and spook him, anything. Or he could just decide out of nowhere that you're very, very scary standing behind him. So I didn't let go of his tail, and I kept kind of shaking it around while I was walking behind him so that when I would hit his blind spot, he would still know that I was back there so I wouldn't spook him as I kept walking. But I think he did really, really well, and I just loved his attitude. So here I wanted to start incorporating leading again since day 2 was such a struggle. I think it was actually day 3. Yes, this is the day that I struggled getting him to lead. So I started lunging him with the lead rope on so that we could kind of set him up for lunging without the round pin there with the lead rope. So I think he did really well, and he actually ended up being really responsive about this lead rope swinging through the air. I was kind of surprised considering everything else. So I wanted to include that because even though he wigged out there, I think he did so well turning around. And then we got right back to where we were, right back to chasing. Right there when he splashed in that, I think that's when the mud shot across my face. I had a line of mud all the way across my face. It's really hard for me to get around in these muck boots and in this mud, and also trying to basically run alongside him. Right there, I didn't want him to turn in, but honestly, I was like exhausted, so I just let it go. And here I start pulling, and I try to get him to move his feet by throwing the rope, but it just wasn't working, so here's kind of how, yes, this was definitely the day for sure that I was struggling with leading. So I tried to mess with him for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, trying to get him to lead forward, and I was just doing that, throwing the rope at his side, just trying to get him to lead. He just wouldn't do it, so I thought, all right, fine, we've done kind of 3 goals already. Starting on his feet, getting him to move his feet and lunging, and walking behind him and touching his tail. So I thought, I'll just drop the leading and I'll just get back to something he knows so that I can end this day meeting some goals. So there he kind of paused a little bit, and I just let it go because right now he doesn't know the patience part, so he's just learning the beginning stages of picking up his feet, but I think he did really excellent.
I'll turn around.
The mud was just everywhere from him round penning. And here, yep, there, I slightly lean into his shoulder and I give more and more pressure until he gives me his foot. And I thought he did really well with that. At first, it was honestly hard to tell if his ears were back because they're so short. But I've gotten really good at picking up on his body language. And I thought I would bathe basically his tail in Cowboy Magic because there's so much mud and poop in it. I could have sworn up and down his tail was black when I got him until I saw his tail better for the first time and realized it's nothing but poop and mud. It's so gross. He was making me very proud, standing here like a gentleman. Sorry if you get bored and this is kind of long, but I really wanted to include the whole clip to show how patient he was. And during me doing this, I don't think I ever really stood directly behind him just in case he would spook or anything like that. But I mean, he did absolutely perfect. And then here we leave the chute open. So he gets to come in whenever he wants. And he kept watching me clean out the stall. And then he finally just walked in while I was doing it. He probably stood outside the door for like, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. And then finally just walked in. And so I thought, let's videotape this and see what he does when I am sifting the poop next to him and when I'm raking the shavings underneath of him just to see. I left the stall door open just in case he wanted to take off or anything, but he didn't care. And there I raised it above him just to see how he would react, and underneath him. There's mud splattered all over me. It was so horrible. Then I wanted to go ahead and pour more shavings in there and see how he would react with all this, and he did. I mean, just perfect. He didn't care at all. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't seen them already, go and watch my other videos and subscribe for more daily doses of the Mustang Makeover. Bye!